Now, let's say you hear in the audio $5. You write like this. You end up with a score of 0. Why 0? Because it's 5, not 1, and you are writing this currency in singular form, and you end up with a score of 0. So to get 1, you've got to write it in plural form, dollars. Now, there's another candidate who would write like this, DOLLERS, $5. Again, your score is 0, right? You can't afford to make this mistake. So how would you correct it? You would spell it correctly to get 1. Why take this risk? You shouldn't take this risk. You better use symbol. And avoid making this mistake. How do you write $5? Write the dollar symbol and then the number. Now, if it happens to be a fraction of a dollar, which is cents, 5 cents or 50 cents, how do you write 50 cents then? 50, then C, small letter C, vertical bar. Capital letter S, vertical bar. Whole number, fraction. Whole number, fraction. For a whole number, the symbol precedes the number. For a fraction, the symbol follows the number. That's the rule. And you've got to get it right. You've got to get the placement right. The symbol for a fraction sits after the number, whereas the symbol of the whole number sits before the number. I hope you can remember that, right? What if the number involves both a whole number and a fraction? In that case, you don't need to use the fraction symbol. Let's say this marker costs you $2.50. $2.50. So how do you write $2.50? Dollar symbol, and then 2, and then decimal point, 5050, both correct. So you hear $2.50. You don't need to write cents, the symbol for cents, because you've already used dollar symbol, and you've used decimal point, right? The same is true for other currencies like pounds. Learn how to write pounds. British pounds, Pounds, pounds. Now learn how to write pounds. Learn how to write euros. Okay. What's the fraction of a pound? The fraction of a pound is called P for pence. No, not pound. P for pence. This pence. Cents. Cents. Pence. Pounds. Pence. Dollars. Cents. So if you only hear a fraction of a number, use this symbol. This symbol after the number, not before the number.
Below symbol is the pence for pence.
P for pence. P-E-N-C-E, pence. Fraction of a pound. Okay, so if the number involves just a fraction, no whole number, the symbol sits after the number. Let's say this book costs you 35 pence. 35 pence. So how do you write that? 35 P. Make sure it's small letter P, not capital. This one should be capitalized. Whole numbers, yes.
If I write 0.35 pounds.
0.35 pounds, that's also correct. Equally correct. Yes, that's correct. That's also correct. 35 pence. Someone writes like this, score 1. Someone else writes like this, both equally acceptable. Okay. So make sure when the number involves both a whole number and a fraction, don't use the symbol. Only use the whole number symbol. Okay. The other common currencies, IELTS currencies, are Japanese yen. Learn how to write yen. Deutsche mark. DM for Deutsche. How do you spell Deutsche? D-U-T-C-H, Dutch. That's from about Netherlands, right? But add one E here, D-U-E-T-C-H, Duesh. Duesh mark. Duesh mark. Yes. So these are the common IELTS currencies: dollars, cents, pounds, pence, and yen, euros. For these symbols, don't use their fractions, just use decimal point for these symbols. Just use decimal points. These are common IELTS currencies. I hope you can remember that, right? So when you spell it out like this, you've got to get your spelling right. If there's a mistake in spelling, you end up scoring 0, even when the number is correct. You can't afford to make that mistake. So make sure you use symbols when it comes to currencies.
Sir, if we write the number second and the send first, symbols send firstly, then I will get 0.
That's not the rule. The tradition is for whole numbers, for any whole number, the symbol precedes the number. For fractions, the symbol sits after the number. That's the tradition. I hope you can remember this, right? So we've learned how to write dates and currencies. By the way, when it comes to other numbers such as telephone numbers, mobile numbers, registration numbers, car registration numbers, etc., native speakers of English usually break the number in different digits, groups of digits. For example, someone's number is 01715230456 9. If this is your number, usually a native speaker of English in IELTS test would break it into groups of digits like this. So my number is 017 or 017. Then a pause. You hear a pause. 152 304 569. They would never say this number at one go. You'll always hear pauses. After every group of digits, you will hear a pause. So every time you hear a pause, leave some space. Rather than writing like this, write like this. Every time you hear a pause, leave some space. If you do this, you never make a mistake while writing numbers, no matter how long or how short that number may be. Be it telephone number, car registration number, mobile number, any number. You will never make a mistake when you leave some space for every pause that you hear in the audio. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, you can even write them. You will get
If you don't leave space here, it's fine, no problem. You get the score, but you are likely to make mistakes. When you hear a huge number, very long number with too many digits, you often confuse and you often get it wrong. So in order to avoid making this mistake, leave some space every time you hear a pause in the audio. Okay? But even if you don't leave any space, even if you write like this, you get the score. Certainly you get the score. But in that case, you are likely to make mistakes. Any amount of mistake earns you a score of 0. So that was about numbers, currencies.